If you say something is taboo, well, that's the thing I wanna do. Do it black and blue. Let's be bad. Guns and gangsters sue me fine. Al Capone is a buddy of mine. He's my big shot Valentine. Let's be bad.
Hey y'all, did you miss me? Probably not, because you're probably watching this at the same time you watch the other one. But anyway, this is the second part of my review of 50 Shades of Grey. Just to reiterate, it is a soft porn novel, so what I'm reviewing probably isn't suitable for the youngsters or my dad. So yeah, so you've been warned. Don't let your kids watch it. Holy crap. Okay, here we go. So I get, if you didn't watch the first one, go back, watch that, because that gives you all the basics of what the story is about. And now I'm going to delve into the main female character, who the story is told from. The main female character who's telling the story. It's a first-person narrative. Her name is Anastasia Steele. She's 21. And she is a student, an English student. And she's in her last year of her degree. And, what can I say about Miss Anna Steele? Very important, apparently, to the plot. She's a virgin. And apparently virgin, in this case, also means incredibly stupid. Because some of the stuff I'm telling you, it's not that hard to figure it out. Maybe it's because I know which way the book's going, so maybe I could see things she couldn't. But God, that woman's stupid. Okay, for starters, stupidity. Oh, he calls, as I mentioned in the first installment, he's a sadistic kind of dude. The main guy is, and he tells her to go to the playroom. He wants to show her his playroom. She at this point already knows that he's into sadistic kind of stuff. Doesn't know to what extent yet, but knows. She goes, "You want to play Xbox?" And I'm like, the conversation you just had, the mention of a playroom, and you think he's talking about an Xbox. Dude, how did you get a degree? Seriously. And, yeah, I don't think this is a proper portrayal of 21-year-old English students. As a 21-year-old English student, I was very offended because this woman is a moron. She just is. And she's, I guess it's to show she's naive of all this stuff. You know, there's this man who's showing her a completely alternative lifestyle that she's never even considered in her life. So maybe they're just, you know, trying to show how innocent she is. But and naive, but there's a difference between naive and stupid. And if you can't put two and two together, that's just being dumb. Okay, and I found that very offensive towards women. There's a lot in this book that's more really offensive towards women, actually. But I'll get to that. Back on Anna. She meets Mr. Grey. Mr. Christian Grey, who I'll talk to you about in the next video. And she's completely smitten with him from first sight, which, I mean, I know this is a romance novel, but that's what beef I've always had with romance novels, is you can have a physical attraction, but there has to be more behind it that develops. In this book, at least on Anastasia's end, there isn't a lot of development outside of he's hot, and I want him, like, they don't really, there's not a lot of talking in this novel, which, for what it is, I guess that makes sense. But I like, my characters to have meaningful, in-depth conversations that advance the quote-unquote plot, or as I like to call it, character development. Because really in romance novels, there aren't much of a plot ever, but at least advance their relationship. This relationship is stagnant. It's completely stagnant, and part of that is her fault, because every time she goes to talk, he just wants to do it. And instead of saying, no, we really have to talk about this because it's important, she just sort of lets him because he's controlling, and it's just easier that way. So yeah, I don't think she doesn't assert herself enough, and I think she's incredibly stupid, and I didn't like her at all. There was not one redeeming quality about this woman. It was like she was sweet. I guess that's a redeeming quality. She was sweet, but there wasn't enough to actually decide whether I liked her. Christian Grey, by the end of it, there was enough for me to come to a decision, and I'll get to that. And at the end of the book, Anna does something that I'd sort of admire, and at that point I start to like her. But, yeah, I'll get to that. I don't want to spoil it right now. If you don't want spoilers, don't watch the rest of this, because after I get into the characters, I'll get into, what actually happens, and my beef with those things. So if you don't want to know what actually happens, after about the third or fourth video in this, don't watch it. Yeah, but anyway, what back to Anna. She's kind of lovable, I guess, in her naivete, but some people may find that lovable, and there is a way to write it to make it sort of lovable and relatable. To me, it was none of those things. She's just sort of there, and I understand why they made her the way she is. Really, the point of this novel, I believe anyway, as is the point of any novel in the romance genre, to make it so that you can put yourself in the heroine's shoes, or in this case, shackles. Sorry, Mom. And I guess by not giving her much of a personality, she's managed to do that. You think she's a nice enough girl, but you don't know enough about her to actually make any sort of judgment, except for the fact that she's naive and doesn't really see the obvious. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It was very frustrating for me to see this woman, because it's a portrayal of women that doesn't portray us in a good light. It makes us all look like idiots. And I may be a 21-year-old virgin, but I am no idiot. So I found that offensive. There's a lot in this book that's offensive, and to be quite honest, I don't know why I enjoy reading them, but I do. I don't know why. I think it's because it reminds me of Twilight in a sense. That's another thing. That may be why Anna didn't have much personality, is because it was based on Twilight, as I've said. And the character of Anna, when it was actually in the fan fiction, was based on Bella. And if you read the Twilight Saga, Bella doesn't have a personality. So I guess when you're basing her on a character with no personality, you're gonna get a character with no personality. But if she was gonna make it no longer a fan fiction, she could have said screw that and made it at least so that we knew a little more about Anna. What does she like? We know she likes classic novels. So I shouldn't say we know nothing, but we know very little. Also, I find Anna, this is another thing, very, very, very shallow. Very shallow. She's with Christian for the most part, from what I can tell, from his looks and the sexual relationship, and the money. In fact, at the end of the novel, she says, he's rich, and he's good looking, and the sex is good, and that would be enough if he'd do X. And I'm like, how? Okay, I'll just state it, because you probably already figured it out. That would be enough if he loved me. And I'm like, no, it wouldn't. There's not enough there to love. There's not enough there to build a relationship on. There's a good start. Because there, obviously, the physical attraction is important. And I'm not going to sit here and say that money isn't important. It's not one of the most important things, certainly. And if you have other things that are more important, like the fact that you love somebody and, like, have a compatibility in likes and interests and mutual sexual attraction, if you love each other, if you have all that, that's totally okay. But just to go, oh, well, he's hot, and he's rich, and it's good, so I guess, if he loved me, that would be enough for me. And I was just thinking, as she said that at the end of the novel, I was like, that wouldn't be enough for me. It wouldn't. It would. What she wanted, her standards are based on very shallow, petty things. And I mean, how is he supposed to love you when they don't have really a conversation about almost anything? Which, I mean, I understand that's not the point of this novel. The point of this novel is to explore the BDSM relationship among other relationships and Christian's tragic past, which I'll get to in like 3 minutes. But I guess Anna, I mean, I don't know what else to say about Anna. She's not what I would portray women as, and I don't know why more women aren't upset about this. I mean, there is a controversy, but I mean, if it's selling so well, and it's selling really well, right now, at this point, it's sold 150,000 copies. That's a lot of copies, and women are responding to this like it's the next big thing. It's like, I don't get it. I sort of get it. I'll get to that, but I mean, and it's not the way I would portray women. When I write women in fan fiction or a novel, which, by the way, I wrote one. It's not out yet, because I just sent it to the publisher, but I'll keep you posted on that. Yay, shameless plug. Because I feel that, if I may be so bold, that Bloodlust, although in a completely different sphere from 50 Shades of Grey, is better written, and portrays women in a much more positive fashion. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know why women are responding so positively to this, like, really, because by the end of the novel, I'm like, this is messed up, and I can't believe I just read that, and oh my god. But I'll get to that when I start talking about Christian Grey, which I'll do right now. So I guess I'm going to sign off. I'm sorry I didn't say a lot about Anna, but that's because, to me, there really isn't a lot to say about Anna, except she's shallow and naive and kind of dumb. But funny. And she speaks like a 21-year-old should. And some of the jokes were funny. I laughed a lot in this book, which I think might have been why I kept reading it, because it was funny. But, other than a few good one-liners, personality-wise, not so great. But yeah, I guess I'll sign off, and please, by all means, feel free to tell me what you thought of Vanna, because, I mean, this is YouTube, and it's open for debate. Yeah, that's one of the things I love about the internet. So, feel free to either post a video response, or a text comment, and I will read them, or watch them, and get back to you. And, next video, we'll start, and I say start because there's a bunch of layers here. Start delving into the character that is, I don't want to use the word hero, but I guess that works as good as anything. Our main hero, Christian Grey, who is, as he puts it, 50 shades fucked up, and I can't think of a better terminology for that. So we'll do that, and I'll see you guys soon, and subscribe, and thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later.